Hello everyone, I hope you had a great weekend. We are on the week 4 and I slightly adjusted the schedule. So as you could see on the website, so we have 4 more topics as the regular schedule. So the topic 8 I'm covering today is the family and union, and the topic 9, the migration, which is shorter than other topics usually. That will be also covered within this week. Usually, I think that will be posted on the Friday. So after finishing all those topics, we will have the weekly quiz for only containing the questions that are within the topics of the topic 8 and 9. So after that, on the week 5 will be on the health, which is also a very big topic, and the recent issues of the population. So after that, as we don't have the final paper or other writings as the final paper, the final exam will be the last assignment. I think I'm planning, as I planned to have the one extra credit assignment, so that will be also posted within this week, so that you can have a better sense about that assignment. Alright, so let's begin on the topic of the family and union. So the family and the family formation, and what we say, the marriage or other types of the family formations, such as cohabitation and others. So there are many terminologies, but in the United States, we usually say the cohabitation instead of the civil union or others. But in any case, in sociology and maybe other topics in the criminal justice or the criminology, the family is a very, very big topic. So if I add, for example, sociology of family, it can be one big course I can cover within one semester, or both in the undergraduate and the graduate course. So the family is a very, very huge topic, but in this semester, as a part of the sociology population, I will focus on what are the history or the impacts of the changes in the family in the population. But as you can see, there are many of the textbooks in the family, and there are many of the topics related with the family issues. So the family is very, very huge, even though there are many notions of the decline in family in the contemporary sociology or the contemporary population. But family is still very, very important as a part of the academic topic in the population or in sociology. If I were you, maybe. Oh, sorry about that. I want to make it. Yeah, sorry about that. So if I were in the classroom, I would ask you that what are the definitions of the family and marriage? For example, if we need to teach English or some of the social sciences for the children, then you will need to use very, very plain language to explain that. So in your definition, what is the family and what is the marriage? You may answer that the family is the gathering of the group of the people based on their blood or their family relationship, or the romantic relationship. The marriage would be also defined as the formal relationship of the two adults in general definition of the if you assign them as a heterosexual marriage, or maybe one adult male, a biological male, or one adult biological female, or if we extend that range to the contemporary meanings of the union formation as the family, you would say the meeting or the grouping of the coupling of the two adults in the sexual relationship, for example, or to have the reproduction in that formation. So there are so many types of the definitions of this that we can use. So because in the very traditional format or traditional on the definitions of the family, we can see that on the meeting of the two heterosexual adults. But in many cases in these days, after liberalization and after the legalization of the same-sex marriage in the United States, face, we can see these kind of the images. So I use the Canva as my presentation format, but when I try to search the images or the icons or the graphics as the family, I could find those types of the homosexualities or the same-sex marriages as the example of the family. Alright, so the co-residential union as a basic format of the union formation, what we say is in the definition is the individuals reside together as the social unit. So it could be not only on the gatherings or the groups of the adults or the multiple generations, such as living with the grandparents and living with the others, living with the adults and the children. So these are the in large, in the meanings of the large meaning, these are the co-residential union. So coming back as a lecture we covered in the early part of the semester. So I mentioned that de facto or de jure and that de facto or de jure residencies, but in both cases they rely on the de jure residence information because it contains the household information, which is the who are residing in the same household and who are living together. So in population, this type of information would be very important because the family relationship is very, very key part of their lifestyle and other of the social standings. So again, on demographic transition and the second demographic transition, we analyze the history of the population transitions in the stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and even 5, based on their fertility and the death rates as the natural increase or the natural selection. And then these were usually, we assume that those births were happening within the family. However, in many days, so in these days, those types of the traditional formats of the family, these are declining and these are diminishing more and more, because even though there were the fluctuations of the marriage rate, such as the crude marriage rate, which is the measure of the family and the rate of the family, this is the number of marriages per 1,000 people in that country. So long time ago, about 100 years ago, it was 12 marriages per 1,000 people, but it increased a little bit more after the World War II and as the generation of the baby boomers. But in these days, the rate of the marriage, the crude marriage rate and other types of the marriage rate, these are declining and more. So I will add the website. You can check the trends, but you can see that the marriage per 1,000 people in the world. So again, it was very high in 12 or more and more. That raised again after World War II, but we can see that the general trend is declining. The decline of the marriage. I mean, the former type of the marriage. So after the so the legal types of the marriage, excluding the cohabitation and other types of the union formations. So most of the country, in many of the countries I included in this example, the marriage rates are declining more and more. So in your opinion, what are the reasons, or what could be the reasons of the decline in the marriage rate? So for example, you may say the highly increased level of education of the man or the woman would be one part of the contribution, because the people, so in these days, the education is still very primary resource of their development of the career. And in these days, the competition is very, very high, so they want to spend more time in education or career development instead of the family formation. So after then, because of the delayed marriage, eventually the young adults decided to remain single, because they found these are not very fair trade of the values or a fair opportunity to keep their career in the development period of something. So we can mention so many number of the regions, but still, anyway, whatever the region we want to mention, the general trend of the family is declining more and more. So in the United States, the remarriages are very often compared with the other countries like East Asian countries. Still, there are many types of the labels, many types of stigmatization to the remarriages or the divorces. It's not that high, but compared with the United States or other Western countries, there are some countries with the very high levels of the stigmatization, so the remarriages or divorces. But anyway, in the United States, the circulations or the repeated marriages. So the started as the legal marriage or cohabitation, separated at the divorce or other widowhood, and marry again and again. So anyway, it would start as the first marriage or first union formation, but these would be maybe remained as the currently married and just keeping in the married, but the divorce or the widowhood, these are the kind of the union union dissolution in the compared with the union formation as the opposite meaning. So this is the very basic on the format of the conceptualizations of the union formation. So again, as I mentioned just before, the decline of the marriage is still, and this is also very emerging on the phenomena. So decline of the family as an institution. A long time ago, about 50 years ago or longer, the family, the former family, the relationship of the family was very big primary source of the having children, the nurturing the children, the two parents as compared to two parents, or I say the two heterosexual parents, adult parents, and the marrying the later age. These were some types of the primary resources or the primary functions of the marriage. However, in these days, the former marriage, the legal marriage, the functions in the legal marriage are declining more and more. So having children, because the having children is not only happening inside of the former marriage, and as these are not happening inside of the former marriage, the nurturing the children is also happening outside of the family. And so in these days, the proportion of a single parent family or the remarried family or the cohabiting family, these are increasing more and more. And because of marrying later and later, because of the aging issues and other types of the social changes, the family, the functions of the family and the former meanings of the family as an institution is decreasing and more. So again, these are some of the recent statistics that the decoupling of the marriage and the childbearing. So based on the races, there are some differentiations, but so as time goes by, the proportion of the births outside of the wedlock, these are increasing more and more. So these are more prevalent in the ethnic minorities, including African American and the Hispanic compared with the white. And also for the less educated, there are more and more of the new mothers, and I mean the births out of wedlock in the less educated one, and also on many types of the differentiation based on their racial differences. So we can see not only just in the biological trends of the births, we can see the social factors impacting on a very large amount of the differentiation. So the social class reflected in the education, and the racial relationship, we can see the very different types of the levels in the births out of wedlock based on the races in the United States. All right, so we will see more details in the next video.